Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hannah here. On this video, guys, we're going to be looking at that Studio 4K Canal set from John Carpenter with a retrospective of The Fog. I want to get all of this out in one video, so stick with me. We'll look at this at the end of the video. But I want to talk to you guys about John Carpenter's The Fog. He just celebrated his birthday, so I felt very apropos to talk about what I think is a John Carpenter classic. Again, with these retrospectives, I like to tell the story. So let's go back again to my, 10 years of being a horror fanatic. I remember 10 years ago when I got into John Carpenter, I, of course, watched his Halloween, and I remember the next movie I watched was They Live, which that'll be a great video in itself to tell my story about that. But I remember when I was looking up John Carpenter, what I do is I go to Wikipedia, then I'll go to filmography. And I remember seeing probably what was Elvis and being like, oh, okay, that's not horror. Let me see what else. The Fog. Okay, this sounds interesting. Let's look into this movie, The Fog. So I go to YouTube, look up the trailer, and I was like, oh, I recognize that person. I recognize that person. I recognize that person. Jamie Lee Curtis. Cool. Let me look at the poster. Cool. Let me listen to the music. Wow. I remember listening to the music for The Fog, the soundtrack, and being like, at the time, I was very scared to give my opinion on the internet. Now I don't care as much. I remember listening to the soundtrack to The Fog and saying, I like this more than the Halloween soundtrack. And there are certainly still days today where, I go back and I listen to The Fog and I'm like, holy smokes. Because what he did was he did the same style that he did. He would take this key sound, this key melody, bum 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 bum, and then he would drop it down a step. Musically, what he's doing is he's taking the same musical phrase and playing it down a key, then he'll go up a few keys, then go half down a key, and then repeat it, kind of like what Halloween does. So he's followed that same template, but wow, did The Fog just sound so ghost-like and atmospheric. I was blown away because it's almost beautiful in its sound as opposed to Halloween being the scary sound. The Fog's music was so... And I urge you, turn off the lights one night, put your earphones in, and just let that Fog theme play, and it will... You'll see Fog come into the room almost. It's magnificent, the music that this guy was doing. He's the AC/DC of horror movie soundtracks. I'll say it, till the cows come home. So I'm like, okay, well, I've got to see The Fog, and of course it's not streaming anywhere at the time. I was new to Netflix. I go to a Books A Million and I look at the DVD section and I see this DVD. And I was like, well, that's it. Because I found a blue one and I was like, uh-oh, 2005, that doesn't sound right. 1980, okay, that's the one. So I put the blue one back and then I got this one, John Carpenter's The Fog. And then I saw a Deborah Hill production and I was like, that's the one. That's the one I needed. So I proceeded to put this movie on, and I don't like to have expectations when I go into a film. I don't like to say, okay, well, let me see what this movie should be like, and that's what it's going to be. No. I went into the movie. I was like, this John Carpenter guy, I mean, he's a legend, right? I fell in love with The Fog. I fell in love with the music. I fell in love with the atmosphere of the film. I fell in love with Stevie Wayne working in the that lighthouse tower, doing the radio station. Like, such simple little elements in this film, and I loved the story and that almost folklorish tale of no bad deed goes unpunished. And what an opening to the movie with 11:55. Time for one more story. Oh man, I was at the edge of my seat. What a great opening to the film with the kids sitting around the fire and telling the story about the dark secrets of this small town where this film took place. And basically, murdering pirates and stealing their gold. Wow. What a simple little story, but like, it was perfect. I love this film so much. I love Adrienne Barbeau in this film. She is such a magnificent character in this movie. So simple, but so believable. And then you've got Jamie Lee coming back with Tom Atkins, and they have a get together in this movie. And I thought they meshed really well together. It really doesn't make sense, but you appreciate it because now, obviously, jokingly we say now in today's world that Tom Atkins is like this sex god. And we run with the joke because of the movies that he's done. Obviously, Halloween 3, you see what he does with Stacey Nelkin, and then in The Fog, he's shacking up with Jamie Lee Curtis. But this is what I like about The Fog so much. When you look at John Carpenter's films, it's like in the beginning, it's like this artist, this band you like, and the way they write music in the start. Sometimes it's more of like this simple approach with just deep-rooted like soul rock and roll. A band like Aerosmith, you listen to their first couple albums, and they all kind of have the same songwriting structures, right? Well, The Fog feels like it's either from the same album of Halloween of a band or no more than like the next album, where they still have that same songwriting structure, and things don't start to really evolve yet until like The Thing. That's when we start to get better production, more sophisticated songwriting. But that great rooting of John Carpenter in those early years of his movies or album styles. The Fog is the perfect style follow-up to Halloween because it's got like a similar production style. It's got a similar vibe, and I love this movie. I love this movie so much. I have so much love for it because of, what better movie to introduce myself to next from Halloween than The Fog? It was the natural next movie to watch, and I love it. It's this simple movie, a modest movie, but, again, I just happen to think that John Carpenter was able to strike gold, or strike oil, so to speak, twice. Because this movie, was successful. It's got all the beats that you want from a John Carpenter film. For me, the most important thing is the soundtrack. And again, soundtrack-wise, I think The Fog is up there, top 5 easily. It's probably my favorite John Carpenter soundtrack. It is so good. I just love it. And then years later, obviously, we'd get this release right here, which is the Scream Factory Blu-ray. And I remember this was an early release, and I fell more in love with this movie. This is one of those movies that I try to space out watching because I love it so much. I never want to get bored of it. And so, I just think that John Carpenter's The Fog is that perfect early era John Carpenter film that you look back on as a fan with just the fondest of memories. The early start to John Carpenter, and I think he was firing on all cylinders. Now, I know that the film had some production issues, and he watched the first cut and was like, "Oh my God, this isn't bad. This isn't good. We've got to reshoot some stuff." And that just shows that John, he worked at it. He wasn't lucky. He wasn't a guy that just was lucky. He worked at it. He never just put things out there. He was meticulous with his work, and I think that's, showing in a movie like The Fog. And what a great little movie that could is the best way I could describe The Fog. It's that little movie that could, and what a follow-up to Halloween. A very worthy follow-up to Halloween. So I love The Fog. It's a classic. Now, when I got into 4K, of course, there are some movies that I can't wait to own on the highest video quality possible, right? So when this got announced, I was so eager to jump on it because my name of the game is just being able to see John Carpenter's movies in 4K. And I wasn't planning on wanting to get all of them, but when I saw this, I was like, that screams me, because this StudioCanal set just has the Blu-ray, the 4Ks on there. It doesn't include the Blu-rays, which kind of just drives up cost. No slipcover, nothing like that. It's this simple set called the John Carpenter Classics Remastered. And on here, it actually has, The Fog, They Live, Escape from New York, and Prince of Darkness. And it actually everything's on an individual disc, which is great. And it's just the movies. It's simply the movies in 4K. And so I watched the Fog in 4K before I did this video. And StudioCanal did a great job. The movies look and sound fantastic. And I'm so happy that they actually put this out, because I don't want to have to rebuy all of them individually and spend a little bit more money, because obviously I'm saving some money by getting a set like this as opposed to waiting for Scream Factory to inevitably put them all out. And of course, 4K is region-free, which is brilliant. You need to have that, quite frankly, for the format to survive in any way it can. But I'm glad I got this set. I've knocked out 4 birds with one stone. I've got all 4 of these movies on 4K. Oh, I've got the Prince of Darkness already, but still down the line, I'm saving money by just getting this, as opposed to waiting for all these to be released in America. So I'm so thrilled that this got put on Amazon and I was able to get it. And they look really good. The fog sounded, hearing that score in just the crispest, best way possible, and seeing that picture quality and all those, the fog rolling in and the matte paintings that they have in that movie was just brilliant. I loved it. So if you want to get this set, I'll leave the link in the description below, and you can click that link to order this 4K set. And of course, even though it's if it's StudioCanal, which I think is foreign, it's region free. All 4K is region free, so you can watch all of these movies on 4K. If you're not worried about having extras or Blu-rays to come with it or a slipcover, this set'll do you just perfectly fine, and you'll save some money down the road. So yeah, there it is, guys. That's the StudioCanal Classics Remastered set. The fog looked amazing. I was just brilliant. I loved it. So let me know what you guys think about the fog. I just think it's one of those great little follow-ups. Sometimes a director can make the successful great movie, and then the next movie you're just like, oh man. That is not the case with the fog. I think it is a brilliant, worthy follow-up to Halloween. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll have the link for this 4-pack in the description, and we'll see you guys next time. I've got your gold, Blake.